Hi everyone, Byron White here, CEO of WriterAccess, to talk with you a little bit about some strategies that we think helped us grow our business organically and helped us make the Inc. 5000 list. For starters, I want to talk with you a little bit about how difficult it is to make the list. You basically need to have pretty much explosive growth in the last 3 years or for a 3-year consecutive time period to make the list. And you can take a look at this year's list and all of the winners and learn that there are literally thousands of yearly percentage growth numbers that you need to make the list, or at least hundreds. The question is, how do you achieve that explosive growth? So, unlike most of our competitors, we don't really have any VC funding or big budgets that help us hire staffs of people to do things. So we have to be very efficient with our dollars and our spend. So we joined the content marketing revolution and really started practicing what we preach, publishing information like guides and a monthly content marketing webinar that I've been running, and even informational assets like books that I've published to help our customers better understand what content and the value of content offers. So rather than focusing our energy on marketing, we really wanted to focus on our customers' uncertainty with the whole hiring process of freelance writers in general. And that uncertainty really becomes a driver for us with the strategy that we're going to talk with you about today. Certainly, A/B testing, our headlines and copy, and various elements of our website helped us improve our conversion rates, but that's really not the answer to the uplift that I think you need to make the list and be successful. Over time, we really learned, however, that this pain of uncertainty that customers experience is really only resolved with a deep understanding of our value proposition. And that is namely great content, fanatical support. If you're not delighted with any content, you don't pay. That's difficult to get your message and your mantra, honed down. I'm not sure this would really qualify as some exceptional mantra, but it does offer a clean, crisp explanation to our customers of what we do and how we do it. What we really learned is that when customers experience our promise that I just described to you there, they tend to buy more and refer friends and colleagues to us. And I think the experience of that is really the core element that I want to talk with you about today. It is truly all about the customer. So I would suggest that the success behind WriterAccess has really been investing more of our funds to customer service. For example, we have a 4-to-1 ratio of customer service team members to, say, sales reps that call freemiums or other leads we may have of people that have indicated that they're excited about our services. So let's talk with you now about these 12 strategies that I think will help you grow your business. Number one, common sense. So it's kind of a funny start, but I really do believe that common sense begins with some of our methodologies. For example, we believe we have two different types of customers, both writers and customers, and we have special teams of people that support both of those customers' wants and needs. And unlike our competition, we are 100% transparent with our rates. 70% to writers, 30% to the house, if you will. And we think that this transparency helps us attract the best writers. We also post the star ratings and rankings and performance scores of our writers, which helps both writers and customers align price and quality expectations. And of course, occasionally we go off course with common sense, but these type of common sense practices on how we treat our customers, how we make decisions about our business, I think are critical to success. Strategy number 2 is really empowering all of these customer service representatives on our staff and team and making them feel that each of them single-handedly represents our brand. That's really hard to do, and it's hard to, I would suggest, hire incredible people, but if you take a look at Who by Jeff Smart and Randy Street, you'll pick up some great tips on hiring. I won't go into all the details now, but I highly recommend that book. And really, The focus being to make sure that the career goals of the people you're hiring align with your culture, your growth path, and the day-to-day tasks. That's really the key suggestion that I would suggest. And it's also, I think, a huge responsibility that we bestow upon our customer service team members, which starts with the first and the last call, and every email you send, and the tickets and the chats that you're having with customers on a regular daily basis. Strategy number 3, really understanding that customers comes in all shapes and sizes. What I mean by that is we really sort of put our customers not in a personas on what action they take, but more with different types of needs they have as they're interacting with us and using both our platform and our service. For example, to distinguish a few of them, we have a customer we call Basic Exchange that has a tag in our system, and that's a customer that just simply wants a fair price and just dependable writers that exceed their expectations with very light service requirements. They don't want follow up or check in. They want to do their own thing, but with a fair price and a dependable writers. So that's distinguished from, say, more of a business partner, which is a customer that has a long-term view and wants to take more of an advisory role with us on new features and upgrades to the platform on top of great content at a fair price. So by distinguishing these different types of customers, I would suggest you can really help to fine-tune your customer driven machine to grow the business. And I would refer you to a fabulous article on Harvard Business Review called The Ultimate Marketing Machine, which goes super deep with these sort of new age personas centered around needs that have been wonderful for me to reference as I've grown the business. Strategy number 4 is to manage customer touches using some advanced technology. The key here, we knew early on that we were really unable to use, say, Salesforce to manage our customer relationships. We needed deeper insight into things like the performance of the writers that they're working with, the amount of spend they have on a regular basis, the orders that they're completing. We needed data that we could really pull only from our database, not that we could, match up and sync up. I know that it is possible to sync up the data analytics, to Salesforce, but it was very expensive for us as a small company to even suggest that. So I think really what you're trying to do with all of this is to manage the touches that your customers really demand at various levels of the workflow using advanced technology and something I call almost mapology, which is to perpetually map out where a customer is, what their needs might be, so you can anticipate those needs before they even happen. The 5th strategy to talk with you about is this element of surprise, which I think is essential for success. Every new customer that signs up with us gets a copy of at least one of a couple of books that I wrote, and they'll eventually get the second copy as well. I'm talking snail mail here. And this is informational content that they value. I get thank you emails and notes all the time for this surprise. And we don't tell them we're doing it for them. We do, we've done some promotions that offer that, but we find the element of surprise is much more valuable as we see customers, share and recommend us to their friends and colleagues based upon these elements of surprise. And we have many others as well, but I'll surprise you on those. Strategy 6 is to explore what I call the power of love marks. Kevin Roberts wrote a wonderful book called Sissimo that I'd refer you to. As it turns out, customers like, love, and interact with brands much like they do people. Sissimo suggests there are 3 keys to get into the hearts of a customer: mystery, sensuality, and intimacy. He, mind you, was a CEO, and I believe still is, of Saatchi and Saatchi. So you can see the angle that he's coming from. But these elements come alive with sight, sound, and motion on the many screens that we look at: mobile phones, big screen TVs, GPSs. You know the drill. And the concept here is that to catch customers orbiting at high speeds, you need to touch them in a variety of ways. And we do that, for example, with 30 to 60 blog posts per month. We run a monthly content marketing webinar, as I mentioned. We have daily posts and tweets. We're trying to catch our customers and feed them content assets and helpful information that helps them turn from browsers to believers and believers to buyers. Strategy 7. create confidence to earn trust. How do you do that? This is my quick short list, but that you can read. But I think that really it's follow up, it's expectations, it's just plain doing what you say you are going to do and doing it in a way that is reflective of just plain great characteristics and ethics. So, I often look at and will reflect on some of my customer service people that will bring a problem to me and they'll immediately start blaming the customer or the writer for the problem. I would suggest to stop blaming and to say, where did we go wrong? Why didn't we anticipate that this writer wouldn't be the right person for this customer, or that the customer really didn't understand our platform or how to write instructions, causing this frustration? So I think looking at the root of why you're blaming somebody and what the real problem is the key to creating that confidence and trust in customers. I'm going to talk about that a little bit more in a second. Strategy 8, analyze the steps of engagement. And I would suggest to you there's a really fun exercise that you can do. This comes from Shep Hyken, who has written several books that are fantastic on customer relationships and deepening those relationships to better your business. But the exercise really helps you better both engagement and improve your conversion rates. What you do is you try to map out all the steps that a customer goes through to do business with you. And you analyze each of the steps and kind of come up with creative ideas for betterment that make the process faster, easier, better, or even more fun, heaven forbid. And it's a great exercise for your team members. I highly recommend it. I think you'll come up with some great ideas. Strategy 9, manage the details. So as it turns out, the devil is certainly in the details. I chose this brown color for this slide and the M&M logo on here. Van Halen challenged their production team to execute a very unusual request on the many thousands of requests in the preparation for a concert. And one of those requests was to have only brown M&Ms in the dressing room. Sure enough, they succeeded, and in fact, did remember that one small detail as a test for success. So I believe that customers test you all the time to see how thoughtful and efficient you are and how attentive you are to details. Don't think for a second you're not being tested, because you are. Strategy 10, the art of recovery. We make mistakes. We make bad decisions sometimes. We make a bad call on, say, whether a customer should be refunded their money, when in fact it might be the fault of the customer. That's unacceptable in our world, and we need to realize that. And if it comes to our attention that we made a bad decision, oftentimes it'll come to my attention. We fix what needs to be fixed. We resolve the problem, and we do it with the right attitude. I think that attitude is so difficult to screen for or even coach and train. How do you teach somebody how to have an incredible attitude to life? I don't know, to be honest, but I do know that when you have somebody that respects the art of having a great attitude and practices that art, you have a real winner. And of course, acting with a sense of urgency and just plain thanking your customers for the opportunity to work with them. I think that's really part of the art of recovery. So strategy 11, only 2 more to go. As it turns out, what we think might motivate people is not necessarily what motivates them. And there's some very interesting studies out there. The New York Times is one of my favorite that talks about many other motivators other than money. Recognition being far outweighing money as a motivator. And you can check out this wonderful TED Talk by Dave as well that I'm always blown away when I see, to learn more about that. Finally, strategy 12 is to try to remove the guesswork with customer satisfaction. I adhere to the Ultimate Question 2.0. It's a fabulous book, and you basically ask your customers one simple question. On a scale of 1 to 10, what's the likelihood they would refer to you to a friend or colleague? You learn a lot about those that answers 8 and 9s, and you want to try to repeat what type of service and really find more customers like them that have similar needs. But you also learn a lot from people that don't rank you well, and you need to make adjustments with how you're servicing people, the type of customer service people you have servicing them, and the whole process by which you really work. So make it simple, make it easy, and do it, I would argue, with one question. Give it a try. So my conclusion, if there were one such answer, would be loyal customers are really the secret to accelerating your growth, decreasing your user acquisition cost, and making the Inc. 5000 list. And I have a couple of treats for you, at least in my mind. And if you follow these links, you can download a free copy of either of my books. I wrote the content marketing roadmap to help people understand the whole process and workflow, and some tips and advice within each workflow that is part of the content marketing revolution. The second book is really trying to get writers and customers on the same page with what to expect in terms of quality writing when you pay more for it. So enjoy the books. Hope you enjoy the presentation. And do tune in to my monthly content marketing webinar if you're interested. Thanks very much for tuning in. We'll see you soon, I hope.